Basketball fans, welcome back. KPA and Equity still dominating, and they're not even skipping a beat. They're just continuing the coronation exercise. And in recent posts, you've seen me say that they're continuing with their demolition jobs on teams, and they have been doing a pretty good job at it. As you can see in the Equity Bank versus Nile Legends game, it happened. 72 Equity Hawks, 43 Nile Legends. Let's just talk about these scores because they're just outrageous. KPA versus Vijana Queens, 81 KPA, 36 Vijana Queens. I mean, these games are just so lopsided, and you can see the things that KPA are doing, or even Equity are doing, they're just working. And I don't know what's happening with like the defense for the other teams because they were just allowing too many points, especially inside. I was seeing a lot of second chance points, and the games, even in the first half, you could see like there was a huge gap. You could see like a huge like 20-point, gap between Equity and Nile Legends when they started, and even the KPA and Equity game, and not even KPA Equity, the KPA and Vijana Queens game. I don't know. I'm just looking at these two teams, KPA and Equity, meeting at some point. Hopefully, it happens because it'll now know who's the best, who has the best lineup, who has the best starting five. Waiting to see that. I don't want to jinx it, but hey, I mean, they have been dominating their competition. Equity, they're just looking stronger, especially scoring, and they've been just using like their ways to score basketball games. I know they're relying so much on transition offense, not much defense. I've seen, okay, there are a couple of blocks in there, but you could see like the half court still not the best, even on the KPA team. Now the half court offense not the best. There's no defunct number one, number two, number three option on the squad. I know the recent acquisitions have been balling out. You can see Valerie there, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. She was good, especially in this game. And we got Aminata, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, just taking over the game in her own way. But one thing that I've seen is the other teams just did not look ready. I just look so unprepared for these contests. And honestly, I feel like KP and Equity just had just like good mental preparation. I know they had some training camp, especially heading into this contest, and the recent acquisitions are really paying off. And KPA and Equity are just doing a good job, especially representing Kenya, because the two teams that I was gearing towards just watching how they are going to play are REG and APR. And REG and APR, they're not looking like teams that are a threat. I feel like they were a threat last year. And even if you look at even APR's performance in the Africa Women's Cup last year, it wasn't the greatest. REG's performance last year, I feel like they were a threat last year, especially when the games were in Tanzania. But in this year's go around in Zone 5, the game just shifted. They were just back to the way things were a few years ago, like a handful of years ago. So KP and Equity are just steamrolling through every single team, and the games are just decided even in the first half. Like the Vijana Queens versus KPA game just decided in the first half. And in these games, even with the wins, the one thing that I'm just looking at, and the thing that is actually quite concerning me, is are we trying to learn some few things, especially when it comes to like going about scoring the basketball efficiently, because even like the huge score line, these games are just like a scrimmage. So are we trying to practice those plays on them, or are you just piling on the points? Because there's one thing just piling on the points in one way and just taking advantage of the defense the way it is, but there's also another thing in trying to change up a few things and plays, try to have like good smart plays. So that's one thing that is actually quite concerning with these two teams, even with the huge score lines, like the final results. The games are just decided in the fourth quarter. I stopped even watching the games in the fourth quarter because what's the point? the lead was like unreachable for the other team, so there was no point even like tuning in to like watch the whole thing in the fourth. But of course, I have to watch these games all through. And one thing that I must say is, despite the other team looking bad, one thing that we needed to do at least is to just practice a bit on how to score the basketball efficiently. I know we're just so trigger happy, and our trigger happy tendencies in Kenyan basketball can get us these results. And these are not bad results. We're just taking advantage of the defense that has been set on the day. So if the other team's defense and their offense is not clicking, and and Kenyan teams that take advantage of that, there's no fault on their own. But the one thing that I must say is, even despite the win, need to go back and try to audit these games, because one thing that I've seen when when we win, we have a tendency to not look back at the games. And the funny thing is, the film is there and the stat sheets are there, so it's just trying to look at the game and try to find a way to be able to like change up things. So my advice to like KP and Equity is just go back, check the game highlights, cut up the footage, look at how you can change up things, and try to improve, because this is not where we are supposed to be competing. We're supposed to be competing in the Africa Women's Cup. That's where we're supposed to be preparing for, and also trying to like get farther in that contest, because they're going to be matching up against teams that are quite stronger, not like these weak teams like the Nine Legends team, very weak. Vijana Queens, very weak. APR and RG did not pose even a threat. There's nothing. JKL, JKT, Stars. I mean, the JKL Dolphins weak. JKT Stars weaker than weak. So there's not like effort being put like in these teams like to compete. I'm not seeing that, especially in the matching up against KPA or Equity. So the things that I must say is, go back to the drawing board, try to figure out like ways to be able to efficiently score points. I know scoring points like that is fun, but just looking back and in the game and try to like change up a few things, especially knowing who is like the primary ball handler. That's actually very essential. Knowing who to go down the stretch to, knowing how to have good post plays, because majority of like our shots, especially from downtown, weren't going in at a high clip. So what if we find a defense that is able to adjust to making us that can make us take those three ball, the tough shot, which is low percentage. So because majority of their points were just high percentage shots, just looking for ways to like get inside, and we were able to get inside their defense because they just didn't know how to play defense. And we don't have good shooters, and it's something that has really hurt our teams very much, especially even in a club level, even in a national team level. And these other teams that we're matching up with don't have like good 3-point shooters. That's why like they're not able to like match our intensity, especially when they pose like weak defense inside. They're not able to like stop the inside ball in there. So our shooting still needs to be worked on. I know 2 points, high percentage shots are what we go for, but what happens when that is taken away? So those are the things that I look at. Those are the nuances in the game I look at, because you can only in a game that is played in 10 minute quarters, in 40 minutes, a lot can change, especially per possession, per quarter, per half. Teams have the ability to know and pick up on like those things on defense, and they're able to like adjust quickly. So what can we use in our weapon, in our arsenal? What do we have? Do we have like people who can have like good close plays that we can go to? Do we have like shooters that you can go to? Do we have like skilled guards that can ISO and set screens for each other to be able to like get baskets like that? So those are the things that make good teams, because we can be able to have like a variety of ways to score. But this just run and gun every time, just take the ball forward, throw it in there, throw the ball forward, score, throw the ball forward and score. If you have a team that can be able to like take that away, it can really hurt us a lot, especially down the stretch. So my advice is just to find a myriad of ways to score basketballs and to win basketball and just score baskets. So that's one thing that I must say. But all in all, it's a great performance. I liked every minute of it. I liked when we win because KPA, the men's team, really disappointed us. I know it's a different type of contest, but the women's team, they don't disappoint. The women's teams don't disappoint that much. I know KPA, the men's team, they go ahead and play like, very hard contests because the competition is very different. But it's up to the women's team to just pick up where just erase the overall perception. So they're doing a good job at it. But I feel like the competition isn't the greatest because we're winning with like 10, 20, 30 points. I mean, in the first half, KPA are up like 35 or something in that Vijana Queens game. The Vijana Queens just gave up in this game. It's just like a quick game, and KPA just kept piling on the points. The same thing as the Nile Legends game, even in the Gladiators game, even in the APR and REG games that we watched in these quarterfinals. I must say they were so one-sided, and somewhat you could just know who's going to win even before tip-off. You could just say, "Oh, I'm gonna pick KP. I'm gonna pick Equity to win." So yeah, that was actually pretty good just to predict something right, to be right. And even if the before even the tournament started, I even made my sentiments clear. I just said I had zero expectations for these teams because I didn't know what to expect. But right now, I'm not saying I'm fully convinced in it because I'm seeing a lot of flaws, even despite the wins. Because like the wins, they just hide a lot of things. I'm just seeing players who like don't know how to like make basic layups. Mind you, there are players who have played in the national team and they still can't make layups. There are players who are too predictable when it comes to scoring the basketball. I've seen a couple of players in the front court not have good footwork. I know scoring the points is how to win games, but how you go about it efficiently is something that we need to look at because even with these wins, we saw even last year, even I like historical references. Like last year, KPA were actually pretty good. Equity, they fell off in contention early, but Equity went all the way to the finals, matched up against A Sporting. A Sporting were very elite, especially when it came to scoring the basketball, and they took KPA to school. So one thing that I must say is scoring the ball efficiently is one very important thing because you can do something, you can play inefficient basketball and win, but that you don't change anything in how you play. But when you play efficient basketball, you're able to calculate and know how to win and how to play. So one thing is clear: KP and Equity, this is like their year, so they just need to find a way to be able to like fix up a few things, especially on scoring, and try to be efficient and at least try to make sure to be deliberate and be able to like understand that it's not just about just taking the win and just scoring the points in bunches, but at least try to like audit the games and look at the things that you can improve on, because if you can win a game and just don't improve on anything, but the beauty is winning the games or even lose even if a loss happens, just looking at the game holistically, try to look at what happened and try to go about it differently. So I'm not sure if KPA and Equity do that because I don't think that they do that. I really don't think that they pay attention to film. But if they cut up the film and footage and look at how they can improve, not even looking at the offense or defense of the other team, but just looking at how they play, it can really go a long way, because this is just not the end. We're just looking at a way to be able to like place ourselves in the continent to be able to compete, and even for the players who play there to be able to like get into the national teams and do something significant. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments. I really like us when we win, and make sure to support the channel. Leave your feedback on the comments, man, so that I can be able to know what you guys are thinking based on like the video topic. And yeah, man, hit the bell, because a lot of videos of this nature are coming up, and I'm not letting up. I'll make sure to give you this type of content because, man, I'm just having fun when I'm watching this, and it's very fun that we are winning. And I'm out. Peace, guys.